You just used a word a minute ago. I just want to kind of probe just briefly. Is the word uniqueness, a person's uniqueness? Would you also call that like their calling or their theme? You know, the kind of the intention perhaps behind their incarnation.
For sure, that damn unicorn is the whole reason why we're here. That mythological being that we can't seem to find. You see how the codes are. So what happens is that, and you look in the ancient cultures, right? What they were very interested. This is what kept hating away. By the way, this is why there was no hating and haters, because the elders were only seeking to really motivate you to bring out this uniqueness. And the reason is because everybody has it, just as sure as your fingerprint. It's because everybody has it. This means that this person's got something that none of us have seen yet. And it becomes more fascinating in a reality without PlayStation to know what another person has that's amazing and secret and unknown than anything else. So we want to coax and encourage that kind of growth from a person. And generally to instruct someone on how to do that means that you only had done it yourself. And so that's the massive power of the elders, is because they had unlocked their uniqueness. They could actually take you through an entire scenario to assist you in unlocking yours. And then once you unlocked it, that did create, it's basically, it's a key, it's a resonance, it's a continuation. So that way, if it took you more than one life to do something, then you at least know where you left off before. So literally your uniqueness unlocks your way of generating wind in your sails across the cosmic ocean. And when you don't have it, then you will be constantly looking for something else to power your vessel. And of course, it would only do that based on how much you gave it, or, you know, that's where agreements come in, right? So people make agreements where their energy is coming from. It could be from their children. It could come from different areas beside themselves. And that's the slippery slope. That's why they show you magicians ultimately towards the end of their lives being attacked by their elementals, because it's symbolic. What it's saying is that if you start developing a dependency on something, when it doesn't do what you want to do, it becomes your heartache. So it becomes what makes you dead, what makes you cancerous, what takes your life from you, because you will be struggling in division. When you're seeing something else as separate, that's why you would want it to do something that you couldn't make it do. Then you start that, again, slippery slope or phi-based equation of division, where everything starts to look different, but really it's all coming from the same source. So let me simplify this a bit more. When we expect something, think something's ours, and this is what happens just in the creation. You can see how this happens. When a massive creative creates, the parent, if you may, what do the babies do? Oh, I'm going to do that. So then we create, and this is even at the core extent for human beings, it's making children. So then we create, and then we believe that those children are ours, and then they learn from us, and then they keep passing it down. And with that schism in a DNA chain, right away, that entire species is degrading itself constantly, because it's continuously birthing on this respect that everyone that comes out is different than the one that previously came out. Now, we just talked about uniqueness, so that means that that's true, but that's only true here, and that's what makes it a paradox. See, the truth here is not the same as everything. Everything doesn't have words. Everything doesn't have limitations. Everything doesn't have boundaries and shapes around it. And don't get me wrong, those spaces, even in coming close to them, are very the word I'm looking for is basically, even when you try to take your consciousness into those spaces, it's very altering. That's why they call them mind-altering substances, disorientating. That's the word that I'm looking for. It's very disorientating because you've been spending the last 10 or 15 years believing everything is not connected. And then you happen to go in a space where everything is. It actually feels like that everything is trying to eat you, or everything is trying to basically become you. And then you find yourself just fighting to hold on to whatever this idea that you think that you are really is. And if you ever have the breakthrough, which means you either took too much or you had some crazy scenario going on that you didn't want to return back to, there's a breakthrough that happens where you just break through all that, and all the stuff it just merges. So we're talking about people literally, and when you're in those kind of phases also, your vibratory frequencies means you're literally going thousands of knots an hour. Mm-hmm. So if you come into a reality that's moving at whatever the Schumann resonance is for today, you could see why, since this would be like slow-mo, you would see why it would be so difficult to perceive something like that is actually happening. So when you go into the higher vibratory frequencies, you condense the cogs of time in patterns, and then those patterns actually show you what the truth really is. So it's like you're zooming out like a fractal. Now, when you see the whole fractal, you're like, oh, wow, this is continuously the same thing. So that means there must be really only one or two things going on here at tops, not trillions or quadrillions. And so that's where I'm at now at this stage of waxing strong, is I condense all of the past and the present and all of that all into the moment in order to inherit the power of the moment, to bring it all into this space.